Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I wanted to talk about some tips and tricks for using up some supplies you may not be using. So I'm doing a no-buy art supply for the year, and I've had these for quite a while, and I don't gravitate towards them at all. They just kind of sit on my shelf. And I kind of want to give you a little rundown of why I have these to begin with, and what I've sort of come to decide upon. So in 2017, I tried a few subscription art supply boxes, and I ended up with some really strange one-off products. And this was the first one. So this is the Winsor Newton Drawing Ink in Scarlet. It doesn't skew red, it skews fuchsia. It came with this Zig Fudibiori pen in blue. I created a piece of art with the two of them with a black fine liner pen. You can see a little bit in the eyes and the nose. I did one illustration and then I was like, yeah, kind of not for me, I'm done. That was it. So these products sat on my shelf, and I'm just going to be talking about the drawing inks specifically. So I sat on this one for an entire year, and then I was like, I'm never going to use a pink that bright. So a year later I purchased the Cobalt, and I'm like, hey, mix them together. You get purple. This is fantastic. I'm gonna use this more. Use it more than once. The answer was no. No, sure didn't. So what is the solution? And the solution to some of these products, especially if you're like me and you've kind of fall prey to the excitement or sort of the mystery or the fear of missing out when it comes to subscription boxes. I did a whole video talking about those. I don't think those are for me. I end up with one-off products I just never gravitate towards. But I'm currently using a scientific pipette. This is a very inexpensive water paintbrush. When I look at the products I use, and this is sort of the self-reflective moment thing coming in, I have to analyze what some of my favorite things are. And one of my favorite things is watercolor. I love watercolor, I love painting, I love using brushes. So if I don't use the loose inks as they stand with the nibs I own, because I do own nibs, and the nibs I have, there's something about like the scratching of the surface, and that could just be how I use them. I don't like it. And I have nib holders. I just don't care for it. And at this point, purchasing something like a glass dip pen, while beautiful and lovely, I don't think I would use that either. It skews too much scratching the page. So I'm not interested in that at all. I'm going to add a little bit of water to this. This is a pretty high concentration of ink. Try and get that on the camera. So I have to look at what I already own because I'm doing a no-buy and what I gravitate towards. Now, if you're not doing a no-buy, you should be aware of a couple really cool products that Kuretake makes. And they're called Kuretake Kurapo, and they're empties. So they make an empty brush pen that has a wick and extra cartridges, where if you just want to put ink in a cartridge and change the ink cartridges around for a brush type pen, where you're just painting with sort of a brush, that's available. It's almost $18. That one has extra cartridges, so I guess it's around $9.75. And then they make another one. So if you don't gravitate towards brushes and sort of watercolor and things with bristles, let's say you have a bunch of inks, but you prefer felt tip pens. Kuretake also makes an empty felt tip pen with a really long fibrous wick. You soak the wick in the ink and then put it into the pen, and you've just created a felt pen with your inks. So there are some empty products that you can fill and customize with your inks if you're not using your inks. So I'm using this one. Again, I'm doing a no-buy. You can see it start to fill up. So this is how I have to approach this. So what I have to do for myself is I have to make sure that, one, I keep these products handy. So these have to be in my eyesight because I don't gravitate towards them. So they're definitely like an out of sight, out of mind thing. So I need to be able to see them. They're gonna have to start sitting on my desk. Now, when I look at some of the projects I'm doing, I don't gravitate towards these for drawing challenges. Again, I only own a couple colors, so the max I'm gonna get is sort of a range of pinks and purples and things and blues. That's very specific. While it does sort of reduce decision fatigue, I think it might be just too specific. So I would say that for something like these and having these out and trying to use these up, it would be smarter to have them with my planner, where I just pick an idea a week and I doodle an idea a week and I use different supplies every week. This is what it would be in partnership for. So I have to look at the supplies I'm not using, keep them out in eyesight, and then pair them with something I think I will end up using more of. Because there's no way that I'm gonna gravitate towards these for anything else. I wouldn't use these for commissions. I'm not sure of the, hi cat, I'm not sure of the light fast ratings of these. So I would be very careful and wary. The other thing is, inks can be mixed with other products you enjoy. So here are some watercolors. Here is my porcelain palette that I have some already mixed colors. And we're just gonna add some of this fuchsia to one of these and see what we get. So mixing them into a product you really enjoy. Maybe you want to add some ink to some of your acrylics, some of your watercolors. Again, ignore sort of the chunkiness of these items. They've been sitting out and there's dust and stuff, but you get what I'm saying. I just would be very, very careful. Maybe print reproduction products, because what you don't want to do is turn some of your light fast products into fugitive products, which means they would no longer be light fast. So check the ratings on some of your inks, and maybe the products you create are just for reprinting and not for commissions and gifts. But that way that you use these up, because I very much gravitate towards paintbrushes. That's something I know about myself. I would rather watercolor and paint than do an illustration in pens. But if you have a bunch of these inks and you are into calligraphy and you're into hand lettering and you're into writing, maybe putting these inks into a felt tip pen is something worth exploring if that is how you like to do your calligraphy and your lettering. So I am by no means good at calligraphy or letters or any of those things, but we can give it a try together just for fun. And I've never done calligraphy with a paintbrush before. Oh, it's very strange, isn't it? Ooh. Boy, you can see my handwriting for sure. I was going to write the word calligraphy, but I'm definitely already off the page. So if you like doing lettering and writing, but you don't care for the nibs, or maybe you don't gravitate towards this sort of style of using up loose inks, it can be really hard. If you're into illustration and you receive some drawing inks and that's not something that you would have purchased for yourself, that can be really difficult to use these up. So these are sort of my tips and tricks, would be to mix them, combine them with what you do use and do enjoy. Again, check the information of your inks, see what their light fast rating is. I have a video about the wool scale, the blue wool scale, in case you're curious what that means and entails. and see if there's ways that you can mix and create and do different things with these products. Leave them out in your eyesight and make sure that they are near paper that can handle it. So for my planner, the Tomoe River is coated and this would be fine. I am currently using a studio grade watercolor paper and that's fine. If you were to use these on, say, just a generic piece of printer paper, and I have one of those too. Let me show you real quick what that looks like without smashing and slamming stuff too bad. The inks this paper isn't sized, they can kind of bleed through. And here I am just practicing my letter I's for calligraphy. But just keep in mind that the quality of the paper, yeah, that's gonna bleed through if I keep going. It greatly affects what you're creating with. So I hope this helped in some way. I hope you got something out of this for trying to use up some inks, maybe in a way that you haven't thought about. The other thing is to use weird medias, like have a tray of these and pull string through them, or roll marbles around for weird textural effects. Maybe sponge these on a background of an art piece and then draw on top of it. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful day and I will talk to you later. Bye.